Apps are fundamental to any business, whether they are traditional ones, which are usually critical to run the business, like SAP, Oracle, your ERP, and so on, or cloud-native ones, which usually run on containers or even serverless, enabling new digital business models in a highly scalable fashion. Regardless the type of application or workload you run, you want to be able to provision it as fast as possible on any cloud. And this is where Cloud Center Suite comes in. Cloud Center Suite is a SaaS-based or on-premises platform that integrates with multiple public clouds and on-premises environments such as VMware, OpenStack, and containers. The nice part is that you model your application, service, and its resources once, and then you can deploy it on any cloud. Cloud Center enables single-click experiences for applications and services anywhere, and totally agnostic of the underlying hardware. Let's take a quick look at it. I will log into the Cloud Center Suite SaaS portal and access the Workload Manager, which is our central dashboard that displays overall cloud usage and more. Cloud Center aggregates multiple clouds and their resources so that later we can use those to provision single-click applications on any of them. We start by adding each cloud's credentials, public, private, or container-based, which allows Cloud Center to download all the services, infrastructure, instance types, and costs for each cloud. Then, once you add all the clouds you need, you have to model services or application profiles as part of your catalog. Let's just click on Model, and then we will drag and drop services from the left into the application profile canvas. For example, we may want an Apache web server hosting our web page, running on top of a CentOS image, and we can define that as part of this service we want to run with a minimum of 1 node and a maximum of 10. This would be particularly useful since we can specify scale-out policies that will enable Cloud Center to create additional instances as needed. For example, if this was an online store and there is a peak season, like Christmas, instead of over-provisioning your web server layer, Cloud Center can monitor CPU, memory, and other resources, and once the threshold is exceeded for a certain amount of time, it could automatically create additional servers. Once that peak has passed, Cloud Center can scale in the number of instances as well. Since we would like all this to happen seamlessly for our users, we might want to throw in a server load balancer as part of the model. There are many other things we could include as part of our application profile definition, like security rules, other orchestration tools, and more. The nice part with this approach is that we only need to model the app or service once, and we can provision it on any clouds we have available on Cloud Center. Let's then deploy this retail store application with a single click. We just have to add a name to it. As you can see, we could also add some aging policies and others. And then, as we click Next, we can now see all the clouds that are available for me to deploy this instance on. In my case, I have Amazon, Azure, and Google. However, remember that you could also have private and Kubernetes-based clouds, as mentioned before. We can compare the prices, sizes, and specifications for each one of them, and then we can deploy it on any of them as well with a single click. Cloud Center will normalize the automation process for me using the same model I configured once, meaning that I don't need to invest on expensive automation services on a per cloud basis, which would take a long time to monetize from. You just model once and deploy anywhere. I will choose Amazon, and then I'll just click on Deploy. After a few minutes, I have a fully functional web application running on the cloud I chose, which is Amazon in this case. And I can access the web page directly from Cloud Center, or even the instance that is hosting this web page through SSH without having to store any private key files myself. Not only that, but all the related costs on a per instance, per tenant, per application, or even per cloud basis is aggregated through Cloud Center, providing multi-cloud automation and reporting. We learn how to model and deploy our applications faster and totally independent of the underlying hardware through Cloud Center. But infrastructure is still a very important piece of the puzzle as well. Cloud Center expects infrastructure to be ready, since it mainly focuses on the workload or application deployment regardless of the underlying infrastructure. This is where we would need to enable agility for our infrastructure as well, so that it does not become the bottleneck in terms of configuration and deployment.